Yes, we are. I'll include that too.
Yeah, why not?
Hi, I'm Matt Linner, and I'm catching up with James Ritchie today. I'm going to have a little bit of a chat to James. I've had the privilege of having James here working with me over the last. Did you know that it's in 2016?
Wow, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, but I didn't realise it went back that far because I was talking to someone about how long the business had been up, and I was like, oh wow, it's nearly been 4 years. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, so I think it was October 2016 that James and I first met, and it's now early 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So would you be willing to share a little bit about why you decided to put a bit of time into the work we do here?
Yep.
I might even put you on the spot at some stage and see what you would say if somebody asked
Yeah.
what it is that we actually do.
Yeah.
But we won't go there just yet.
Yeah.
I want to find out first of all, and if you're happy to share, what was the motivation?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to come along in the first place?
Well, I would say there was a combination. So I was definitely looking for that external support in terms of that, business coach, business mentor, advisory type service, and then the people
But you weren't in business at that stage, were you?
No, I think because I was still working with Department of Education, but I was at the point where I wanted, my manager at the time, who is still probably the best manager I've ever worked with, was big on pushing, it's good for all of the senior managers to have their own independent, business coach, business mentor, that sort of thing. It's a beneficial thing because she had one as well.
Right.
And so I was sort of looking, and I'd talked to a couple of people, and they didn't really sit right with me. Not that there was anything wrong with them, but they just I don't think they were the right fit for me. And then Brett Telfer, who obviously through Collective Heart and Disabled Surfers, I think, was raving on about you, and I thought, oh, bloody hell, like, who is this bloke? Like, Brett was carrying on like you're his own personal messiah, and I thought, oh, this is a bit rich. And then you turned up at one of the Disabled Surfers events, and I met you and had a bit of a chat too, and I was like, oh, okay, right, nothing like what Brett had described in terms of I had a different view in my head, and then I think it just went from there. It just felt like we, like the ocean, we're both into surfing, got along pretty well, and I just went, oh yeah, that works. Let's see where that goes.
So Messiah, the concept of Messiah sounds like some sort of, walk on water. I did have short hair then, like something.
Looking at you now, I'm like, oh man, where's this going?
It's only a hairdo, mate.
That's
so
right.
I didn't get caught up with.
Yeah.
So you said business coach or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do help a lot of people who are in business, but I don't know if I'd put myself sort of squarely in that category, if you want.
Yeah.
What were you looking for yourself? What was it? Because somebody else in the organisation had been working with somebody and they thought it was helpful.
Yeah.
I suspect. Righto, so we're just interrupted with a phone call. So what was it in particular? So we had, you had some people around you doing something.
Yep.
But you're a pretty independent thinking kind of guy. So what were you looking for yourself?
I kind of didn't know in a way, but I think I was looking for somebody, I was looking for, I guess, guidance on my next move career-wise, because I think I was getting to the end of, what I was willing to tolerate in that role, and then
So you weren't enjoying your work?
No, definitely not. Definitely got to the point where, not enjoying my work anymore.
Right.
And then I think I was looking for some guidance that was a little bit more well-rounded than just the classic, like, sort of, double-breasted suit, I'm your business coach kind of guy. And I wasn't necessarily going, I want to go find a Matt Linnett or equivalent. I was just looking for someone that was just a little bit more aligned to the way I felt like I viewed the world, or the way I wanted to go. It just felt like there was a natural fit there.
Yeah. So given we're talking 3.5, 4 years ago,
Yep.
You still turn up here from time to time. Thank you. That's good. Well, what is it that you enjoy? What do you think has supported you? Any particular concepts or approaches you think? I've sort of stayed with you.
Yeah. I mean, the money personality thing I think is still really good. That's so that process has been really helpful, because obviously I think even the way you and I have then since talked about it in terms of all these disc type things, they tend to be a little bit misunderstood in that people think that they've got these preferences, therefore that's putting them in a box in a way. And I think the way you and I talked about it at one point, I remember in terms of them being preferences, not necessarily hard and fast absolutes and all that sort of thing, and the potential for them to shift and change over time. So that was really good. And then the workbook, which I think we're still only about like 90% of the way through, that is really good. I still remember the vision board things, that they were really good, particularly at that time, I reckon about 2.5 years ago, where I was still very new in my own business and I was trying to work out the way forward. They were really good. And then I think I just appreciate the external voice that understands sort of life from both sides, from the business side and the, let's call it the philosophical side, to be able to come in and bounce concepts off you in terms of what I'm navigating professionally or personally, and just have that independent but pretty well-rounded and supportive voice to be able to do that. Because I think no doubt I've talked to you about plenty of stuff related to, personal things that I'm dealing with, and then I've also equally talked through, business constructs and structures and costing models, and I think we've always come out with some good output from both types of discussions.
Yeah. Well, for me, business needs to be a subset of life. Business should be something that contributes to your life, not that you sacrifice life for.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone sees it that way, maybe not, I'm not sure. But for me, business at its best is an opportunity for you to express your values, to express what it is that you really love.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it still gives you the freedom to, be there with your family when you want to be there with your family.
Yeah, definitely.
So what business are you in now?
Yeah, so look, came from a background mostly in risk and compliance for big big mining, and then ultimately government agencies. But these days, very much focused on internal risk management systems development for specific types of organisations. So we're pretty niched in now. So we really want to work predominantly with businesses in, let's call it that, $15 to $100 million revenue category that are in specific high regulation and high risk sectors such as aged care, not-for-profit, mining, healthcare, insolvency, accounting, those type of businesses where effectively you've got a regulator that's quite aggressive and bolshy, and the potential for it to go wrong publicly if you don't get the regulators' requirements right, and obviously correspondingly a fairly significant community or stakeholder, shareholder expectation that they've got to meet as well. So
it sounds pretty challenging.
Can be, yeah.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, I do. Mainly because I find people within organisations and collective and individual decision making a really fascinating topic in terms of what motivates them, why they do the things they do. I find, and because I like to come at it, obviously, the systems we use these days have got a lot of data behind them, but I really like the, let's call it the behavioural economics side of it, in terms of what motivates people to make decisions individually and then as a group in organisations, and so I enjoy that.
And you think taking the time to understand, your own value sets, the nature of your personality, the nature of, what you like and what you don't like at a pretty deep level. Yeah. Do you think that's, I think you're really well suited to what it is that you're doing. Yeah. Do you think that insight for you has helped develop the insight you have when working with people that are similar or different to you?
Yeah, look, definitely. I think because I tend to work, the people I really enjoy working with, I'm quite clear in my mind now on the certain types and, let's call it the natures behind that. But then equally, because I have to work a lot with, say, accountancy type mindsets, and I mean, you and I've talked about, they tend to be often very Labrador centric, so very structured and black and white. Yeah. And not saying they all are, but yeah, certainly I encounter a lot of that very structured, defensive, risk averse type mentality, and that understanding the money personality stuff and working with you and all the other stuff that has happened along the way certainly assists me in better working with them in a way that's productive for both of us, rather than me just getting frustrated at why can't you see the world the way I see the world, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's one of the things for me is really important, is helping people recognise that different people do have different ways of looking at the world, and to try to be accommodating of that, with the view that often people are striving for the same outcome or the same goal. But there may be different ways to get there. There may be different aspects of fear and concern along there as well. And what about in your personal life? I know you've got a pretty busy life. You're married and kids and probably cleaning a pool in summer and and the gutters.
Looking after your house. And you've also launched this consultancy of yours. So, do you feel like you're doing pretty well? Do you feel like, in terms of balance, because that's one of the things that's important to me, how do you feel like you're going with that? Yeah,
I reckon 80% of the time. I think, talk to any small business owner, I think I'd probably, yourself included, probably wouldn't matter whether you've been in business 4 years or 40 years. I think there's always a really challenging aspect of that, because it's all ultimately lands on you, regardless of whether you've got teams behind you or not. But I reckon I get it better. I keep it balanced more often than what I would have, 4 years ago. That's for sure. I wouldn't say I get it perfect all the time.
And what do you put that down to? Like, are there things that you've put in place for yourself personally that helps with that? I
mean, without getting all sort of yogic or philosophical, all the daily practices that are pretty important to the way that the week's structured for me, and then the way that even my wife and I structure the way we look after the kids and who's got what responsibilities in the household. I think that all assists.
So I assume communication's important then.
And strategy, because I'm that sort of guy that loves working in that strategy, forward-thinking space, planning, analysing, all that sort of thing. So I think, the more clear, or the better clarity that we get in our household about all of that sort of stuff, the more settled everything is for all four of us. And
hobbies are important, right? You love the beach and you take your dog for a walk. I understand in the morning you give yourself time to have a bit of a stretch. Good on you.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, the week's more structured now around the way I interact with clients, so that I can better manage giving myself that space for that. And whether it's, dropping the kids, I think, trying to get them on the bikes, right, like bike riding them to school now that they're both at primary school, making the space for that, and getting a couple of surfs in during the week in that kind of 8:30 to 10 o'clock period, and it's good.
Well done. Because it's really easy for us to sort of get cycloned into to the busyness of life, and to be able to make decisions about, well, how are we going to do this? It takes a lot of proactivity. Is there anything, given your experience, you're working in the education system, you've ended up working for yourself, and I wouldn't suggest that sort of change is appropriate for everybody, but is there anything else that, if somebody's watching this video and they can relate to some of what you've shared, is there anything else that you'd want to share? Or are you all done?
Oh, I don't know. I don't like to, punch out advice for everyone or whatever. But I think that, for me, finding alignment in terms of the way I like to work and what I like to do has been a really liberating, empowering experience for me. And so I think if I look back to 5 years ago, not that if people want to work their whole career working in a big organisation or working for someone else, there's no issues with that. But I think that if you're of a certain type of personality that I certainly found I consistently got to the point where I found that quite aggravating, because I was constantly, in my mind at least, always going, oh, there's a better way, there's a more efficient way that we could do this, and feeling as though there was no real value drive behind what I was doing, to now where I feel like everything's driven by how, if I can't add tangible value to a client, my attitude is, well, why are they paying me for? And so I would say that, look, if you're of that personality type that you really, have the motivation to go and do that, then I reckon there's never going to be a perfect time to go and pursue that, but I certainly am infinitely grateful that I've gone to do that, rather than spending the next 10 years kind of not knowing or wondering if
Good on you.
if that was what I wanted to do. So.
And you decided to have a go, and sometimes you never know, right?
That's right,
and managing risk on the way through, that's important too.
Absolutely. And that's that. Anyone that started a small business knows that that's a bit like riding the lightning for the first, at least the first 12 months or so. But it gets better if you just can consistently keep turning up and kind of stay very clear about what you want to achieve and who you want to work with and how you want to create the business. And
I think that clarity is important. I think the other thing which we haven't mentioned is you've been willing to invest in your own development. Whether that's other courses that you've completed, or going and having lunch with somebody who's an established business owner, and just being a learner. Really.
Definitely. Like relationships are king in business anyway, but certainly having an attitude of wanting to go, not being arrogant or thinking that you've got all the answers or whatever, and being really proactive about going and engaging with other business owners and just other interesting people. But I think I find that pretty easy, because I just really enjoy having conversations with people about interesting stuff. So
good on you, mate. And I know you do a lot in the community as well. We won't sort of drop into that for too much, but I know contributing to community is important to you. As an important branch of your business, but that is a direct outcome, that it's an important part to you as a human being, right? And you're involved in that well before you're in business. And I think that spirit of contribution is something which is important to you, right?
Absolutely. I think that's, you and I were talking about that last week. I think I even did a LinkedIn post
last week.
That I put you in. But I think that for me, definitely all the model stuff aside, but community and connection, I think, is probably the fundamental ethos behind the business, which some people might go, that sounds weird, how could that make sense when you build internal risk management systems for other businesses? But it's about the way I do it, and certainly then ultimately the clients and the types of businesses that I want to work with. I'm very aware of analysing potential clients so that we can identify that they do have a direct contribution to the community through the business they do, and it doesn't have to be not for profit. I think that there's contributors there that people wouldn't even historically consider to be strong contributors to the community, but then obviously that drives the alignment often with the people that we're working with within those businesses, because particularly if they are a not-for-profit, they're obviously generally filled with some very passionate, committed people that want to really do something great for the community, and that can be a great energy to be around if you're up for it.
I think it means a lot to me, it tends to mean a lot. To not everyone I work with, but to a lot of the people I work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, good on you, James.
Yep, thanks, Matt.
Thanks for your time,
No,
mate.
pleasure.
So I'll put your business logo on the end of this.
Yep, right.
This production.
Yeah, great.
So if
great.
anyone wants to chase you down and they like sort of your philosophy behind risk management, they'll be able to get in touch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Can we throw a shaka to like sign off or something?
Throw a what?
Throw a shaka.
What's a shaka?
You know a shaka, like a hang loose.
If you want, mate.
Yeah,
you want to do one of them ones.
Yeah, nice.